Aren't we already live?
As our friend Evil Guy just talks through the intro, yes indeed, we are already live. Smart ass. But here we go with the actual game. My game sounds are way too loud. Let me just make sure that I actually turn that down a little bit for you guys. I believe I have it at 20%. There we go. First Harder to Swarm serious game. The only game I've actually played was versus a bot, so that doesn't count. And well, how about you give us a rundown of these players? Evil?
Sorry, didn't quite hear you. Your mic
Run
went a
by
bit
on the
funny there.
players.
Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Daybreak LE, playing as the Pink Zerg 4-Team Acer, we have Bly. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, playing as the Orange Protoss. Sorry, just reading that. Playing as the Orange Protoss for Team Millennium, we have Adele.
How awesome is that? How can you turn on experience for everything? I saw that too. Suddenly you get experience for like every kill you make, and I'm like, what's going on? Yeah.
You do. It's like they've
This is like Warcraft
sort of
3, man. What's going on?
They do have it now. It's really difficult to really get your head around the way this experience thing works. There's a lot of stuff in it, but it is pretty much every kill you make, every building you build, every upgrade you research, you get some experience, and that levels you up in-game, which gets more character portraits, etc.
I just want to turn it off, honestly. Just in the way, honestly.
It does seem like it would get kind of annoying. But to start off with, it looks like Adele is going for a normal gateway expand, whereas Bly going for the very early hatchery. So very normal out of these two players right now.
Yeah, we used to do pull here after hatch, of course, for Bly here going down. Just business as usual, that's what I'm used to. On the other hand, you know, I'm already looking at that gateway, I'm like, well, shouldn't that be a forge or something, or a nexus first? But nope. Of course, we're playing Harder to Swarm, so we want to get that mothership core out as quick as we can.
Yeah, the Forge Fast Expand is still definitely a viable build, but the Mothership Core is so much more useful for defending an early expansion because of its... it's not called Purify anymore, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's basically much easier to defend with it rather than having to spend the extra money on cannons. And we do have a bit of a pause here, so we're just seeing if Adele can get rid of his experience pop up.
Yep, this is basically garbage time. While he does that, I can actually turn off the music. Actually, I have a hotkey for that. There we go. There we go. Turn off the in-game music, which is way too loud for my taste. Anyway, we were talking all about the Mothership Core. Of course, the Mothership Core is a unit that's been kind of controversial. I mean, you know, Moro said it was a bit of a broken unit as it was. You know, it basically made every kind of rush that you could do as a Protoss, made it better because you now had a Mothership Core with it as well. What are your thoughts?
I agree. In the last tournament we saw the Mothership Core was used to great effect. The greatest thing about it basically is it granted you that high ground vision. So every rush, as you said, that involved stalkers or sentries, they suddenly have the high ground vision, which means stopping it as a Terran at the top of your ramp through your supply depots, or as a Zerg if you have to retreat into your ramp and try and defend with spine crawlers or queens. It makes it so much more difficult to defend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I really wonder how they're going to balance that. You know, short of making the Mothership Core stuck near a Nexus again, that's something that's going to be a little bit controversial, especially on short distance maps. If they only have the long distance maps, then I think we're going to be okay.
That is true, but we will see how it goes as the Cyber Core has now finished up for Adelscott, so he should be getting out that Mothership Core fairly soon in order to act as the defensive unit. And there it is.
Yep, coming on out. Meanwhile, we do see the full scout here by Bly, by the way. Is that, yeah, that's pretty much safe.
Yep, fairly safe. And we do see the, like, replacement for destructible, not destructible, for neutral supply depots. We have mini destructible rocks that are the new replacement in Heart of the Swarm.
I didn't even notice that until he started shooting it. I thought it was just some kind of new terrain type, and then he started shooting it. I'm like, wait, what's going on? What is this voodoo magic?
The interesting thing we can see here is we haven't seen Bly expand yet. He is expanding right now, but this is a bit later than you would see in Wings of Liberty.
Yep. Then again,
normally sees.
you can play a little bit more greedy, I think, in Wings of Liberty as well, and not have to worry about any kind of the new stuff working out. Yeah, a part of that is, of course, that we've been playing Wings of Liberty for so long now. We know exactly what kind of rushes we can get and what kind of rushes we need to be afraid of. Meanwhile, now these gateways are going down, but Bly's definitely got a good eye on that. The Overlord coming over is going to spot everything in the main of Adel.
Absolutely, flies over everything, gets a really good eye on everything. 14 Lings coming out of Bly. He knows he's going to have to get out some defense to protect against this pretty much definite push coming out from Adel. And Adel has sent the Mothership Core out here to try and do some damage to that third base of Bly. And Mothership Core doesn't really do enough damage to kill it off, but it will do enough damage to harass it and make sure it has quite low health for when the rush comes out, which it is on the way at the moment. There are some Lings going to try and catch out these sentries, and here comes the engagement. They get a fairly good surround of the sentries, but good force field trying to trap them off. And there we go, separates all the sentries from the Lings. Stalkers come out and all the sentries live. Great play there by Adel.
I think Bly had a bit of an opportunity there. I mean, he had his Lings on the units. Instead, he focused several Lings onto his Zealot there. Wanted to get down to first Zealot and then figuring, hey, I can deal with these sentries after. But by the time he finally had that Zealot, very little units actually left.
Absolutely, it was a good opportunity, but great save there by Adel with those force fields. And here come the Lings. The pylon is cancelled, so it is now just Sentry, Stalker, Zealot with the Mothership Core, which has taken a bit of damage, but this expansion will definitely go down. We are seeing 2 Spine Crawlers being thrown down at the natural expansion of Bly to try and defend it. And we're seeing Lings going for a counter-attack by the looks of it. They do trap 2 Zealots here. And Adel's army is coming back to try and kill off these Lings to stop the killing 4 pylon.
Yeah, he wants to stop that forward warp in. He decides, hey, well, I can't deal with this force right now, but I can stop it from being reinforced. Very smart play. He's at least going to stop Adel from actually moving forward. Did lose the third, though, so we're going to have to see if he can actually stabilize from this.
Absolutely, he's cancelled one of his Spine Crawlers, was that? And is just replacing it with an Evolution Chamber, moving his other Spine Crawler forward just to help defend. Whereas Adel has moved back, he's denied the third, and is just going to chill around his base for the moment, and we'll likely see him expand fairly soon.
Yep, now we do see this Protoss force from Adel in the middle of the map. That does mean that that's something that Bly can really not afford to engage. He's going to have to depend on counterattacks as soon as Adel moves out. Adel is moving out right now, and instantly we see the Lings indeed coming on in.
Yep, and because Adel did not go for that forge early enough, there's no cannons to defend against this. We see Stalkers warp in, but the Zealot blocking the choke into the base has been killed, and the Lings just pour in. There goes a force field, but it missed again. The Lings are all in the natural expansion, doing huge amounts of damage. We're seeing Adel pulling back to try and help defend this. Those Stalkers will probably go down. There are now Lings in the mineral field. There are Lings in the main base doing huge amounts of damage right now. Zealot's being warped in, and Adel will be able to kill this off, but so much damage is being dealt here by Bly. This is an incredible play right now.
Yeah, but you see that there's only 6 workers killed, so it doesn't do as much damage as you might hope, but still, this is definitely disrupting Adel's plan. And also stopping Adel from moving out. You know, every time Bly does this, every time he gets his units in, he forces Adel to fall back, you know, sets Adel's base basically in disarray, and buys himself time.
Absolutely, and in this time he has managed to get himself a very large congregation of Hydras and is continuing to pump Hydras out while getting up his third base. Infestation Pit is also on the way, so we're definitely seeing Bly go for a very heavy damage force right now.
Oh yeah, and the upgrade for speed, 25% off creep, might actually come into play on this map, because we see that the group spread is not really significant yet. He's only getting a little bit of spread towards his third now, but it's very late on that. You know, in Heart of the Swarm, you kind of expect that creep to be halfway across the map by now. That's a bit of a hyperbole, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's definitely the idea coming out of Bly, as he is getting that Infestation Pit. He will be able to tech up to Hive very soon and get out his Infestors as well. And once he has teched up to Hive, he will be able to get that speed upgrade, which will make his Hydra so much more effective with the Infestors. So we will likely see that soon. But at the meantime, Adelscott is moving out across the map, and it looks like he's going to try and deny this third again. There are Hydras, but there's not that much creep here for them to maneuver on, and not that many units here to help them defend. But here we go. Here comes the engagement. Good force field separating some of the Hydras, and those Hydras will go down, but there's so many in the back that
doing a lot of damage
Adel
already.
have trouble engaging this.
Yeah, those Zealots, they melted. I mean, really, I expect them to sponge up a considerable amount of damage and actually be more significant in that battle, but no, Bly dealt with him so handily. they disappeared before they really got a touch, and then you've got this army left of Stalker Sentry, which just isn't that well equipped against the high DPS from the Hydras.
Absolutely, and the Hydras do so much damage there. We see them driving back those Stalkers. There's just so many of them right now, and Adelscott trying to push up again, pulling the Lings out, trying to lure the Hydras off creep as they do not have their off-creep speed yet. This is getting really difficult for Adel to move around.
Neil Bleak them up as well. And of course, important to note that the Mothership Core did get taken out. Had to rebuild that. Now there's some beautiful force fields there. On the other hand, he can't really capitalize on it quite yet.
He's going to throw down the force fields though, killing off a couple Hydras, but the majority of the Hydra forces are stuck behind. Going to try and focus down the hatchery, getting force fields, trying to stop the Hydra sneaking around the other side of the hatchery. More Stalkers are coming in from the back, and this hatchery will go down, but Adelscott's going to have to get out of there so quick because he's out of force fields, and the Hydras are pushing forward. They're going to kill off both of the sentries right now, which is a lot of gas lost for Adelscott, and the Lings may actually pick off a couple Stalkers here.
Yeah, Blink not quite done yet, and of course trading your sentries for a hatchery as well. It's a debatable decision, you know. Sometimes it works out for you, sometimes not. In this case, I think it might have been worth it because you needed to get something done, because simply Adel does not have a third yet. You know, he needs to start thinking about getting a third of his own, or he's going to have to keep that third from Bly from coming up.
Absolutely, the third has gone down again from Bly, but here we go. Good fungal on those Stalkers, and the Hydra DPS just tears through them. Everything goes down right now. There is a Colossus on the way, but it's only halfway complete, and there's not really that many units left for Adelscott up in his natural expansion, and he is a lot behind Bly when it comes to the supply right now.
That was painful, man. That fungal hit just perfectly. It's exactly what you want to avoid. You know, of course, do you think Adel really spotted the infestors by then? He's got an observer here, but really it was out of position. I don't think he knew those infestors were going to be out quite yet. So that might have helped a lot. I think it was a bit
of a supply. He didn't expect it that quickly, so was definitely caught off guard.
Yep, supplies.
The supplies are very much in Bly's favour at the moment. He is about 40 supply ahead, and the Colossus is now out for Adelscott though, which will do that bonus damage versus light, which may actually help Adel in this situation, but will it be enough?
Yep, now we see a lot of Lings out here in the middle of the map. They are going to get caught. A lot of them are actually going to get killed off. Of course, they are just Lings, but still, you don't want to sacrifice them for no point whatsoever. You know, that's something that is basically a bit of a mindset. You know, you have to have a purpose for your units. If you got units out in the middle of the map just sitting there, that's fine, but make sure they're sitting there for a purpose. He had a ton of units basically sitting at the Zelnark Tower, a bunch of Lings which weren't able to do anything. You know, it wasn't like it was going to be able to counterattack from that position. He only needed one to really spot from that position, so it kind of makes you wonder, why are the rest of his Lings out there to even get caught?
Yep, absolutely. He definitely wasted too many units for that purpose, and Adel is finally starting to take his third. I think he's been a bit too late here. He should have expanded after possibly the first time denying Bly's base.
Yeah, but Adel definitely playing for the aggression here, but now we're going to see some upgrades. Actually going to see that Hydra speed off creep go down. We see the Adrenal Glands upgrade as well. We got indeed the Stonius Plating going down as well, so we can expect some Ultras to come into play, but only the +1/+1 now underway for Bly, so that's a little bit late.
Yeah, this is
like, those Ultras become really powerful when you have that +3/+3, because they're so hard to kill and they do so much damage, but right now the Ultra's not going to be that big of a deal.
Not really, no. They are very vulnerable as they are in good blink there. The Colossus and the Stalkers kill off all of those little scouting and mini aggression Lings. And Adel's base is looking fairly easy to take now. He will be throwing down that Nexus fairly soon. Whereas Bly now has 4-5 Ultras on the field. Fifth one is about to complete. And this is going to be good against these Zealots, but the fact that there's so many Stalkers and Colossus in this force, the Hydras and the Lings are going to melt. Whereas the Ultras just won't be able to do that much. They won't be able to get in, really.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how this engagement is going to go. Adel wants to be aggressive here. He wants to hit really before that tier 3 for the Zerg really kicks in.
Lings get goods around. Ultras doing so much damage right now. That front force just melts right now, but the Colossus sitting in the back doing so much damage. And there's the mass recall. Gets all those units out of there, except for that unfortunate Colossus, which does go down. But great save there by Adel.
Yeah, on the other hand, now 120 food for his 160. Bly is definitely going to be happy with his position. Of course, you want to hit with your attack just before that tier 3 really starts kicking in for the Zerg. You know, that's kind of a window where they invested into that tech. Their food should be a little bit lower. You should have an opportunity, but the way this game panned out, Adel really didn't have any business out on the map now. And again, he gets caught. Now this time, oh, whoa! Once again, makes his way back, but takes a lot of damage this time in the process.
Absolutely, and he still hasn't managed to get down that third base, and even if he did, it would be about to go down to this force of Bly. There's just so many Lings right now, and the Ultras are just still managing to tank the damage, and Lings getting, the Stalkers getting bungled, Colossus are sitting in the back, but they are getting bungled too. And Adel is just being caught right here. He can't really do anything. He's trying to micro backwards, but there's so many Infestors right now, and the Ultralists are standing tall. Infested Terrans going down, and all the Colossus are dead. And I think we may be seeing a GG. There we go, GG out of Adelscott, and Bly takes this first map.
Yep.
Wow.
I gotta say, well played. Actually,
Very well
first
played.
game. And I gotta say, I'm looking forward to game number 2. Bly looks so solid throughout every state of this match, basically. I mean, he lost his bases, but he took a lot of units from Adel in the process as well. So he made sure that Adel paid for it. And every time Adel moved out, you know, Adel had to pay for his aggression. You know, we saw the Lings run by as soon as Adel moved out. You know, every time Adel tried to get anything done on the map, Bly was there to punish him for it. And I think that really helped him out in this game.
I couldn't agree more. And as much as we thought it was a bit of a strange decision because the upgrades weren't really in that direction, going for the Ultras seemed to be the perfect decision there because they absorbed so much damage from the Colossus and from the Stalkers that the Lings were just able to get in and do the damage they really needed to.
Yep, meanwhile, I will tune you guys out to a song we'll wait for game number 2 to be hosted on up. Won't be long. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys stick with us. You're watching JellyChef.tv with Martijn, aka Mumbles, and Evil Guy 13. More action is to come shortly.